5 p.m. recap.
Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Friday, May 28, 2021. Al Jazeera report. Japan extends virus emergency with safe Olympics at stake. Japan has extended a coronavirus state of emergency in Tokyo and other areas for 20 more days, with infections still not slowing as it prepares to host the Olympics in just over 50 days. Cases remain high and medical systems in Osaka, the hardest hit area in western Japan, are still overburdened, Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said in announcing the decision on Friday. I am aware that many people are voicing concern about holding the Olympics and Paralympics, he said.
Deutsche Welle report. German police shoot dead knife-wielding man in Hamburg. German police were investigating an apparent attack after killing a knife-wielding man who damaged cars and threatened motorists in the country's second-largest city, Hamburg, on Friday. Several witnesses reported the attacker yelling, Allahu Akbar, God is greatest, in Arabic. According to the police, officers deployed to the scene, backed by a special unit that happened to be nearby, police said in a statement.
Fox report. Scientists at Wuhan lab in COVID probe admitted being bitten by bats, reports. Scientists at the Chinese lab eyed as a possible source of the coronavirus pandemic were previously filmed getting bitten and spattered with blood while handling bats without protection, according to reports. The state-run TV footage showed researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, WIV, disregarding gloves, masks and other PPE while handling bats and collecting feces in the field, Taiwan News first noted.
Fox report. Catholic group founding conservative university in Warsaw. An increasingly influential Polish Catholic legal institute, which lobbied for the recent restriction of abortion rights in Poland, is planning to open an international university in Warsaw, seeking to educate a new generation of conservative lawyers. The institute, Ordo Juris, plans to announce details of its project at an inaugural conference Friday in Warsaw. In online materials, it says the university, called Collegium Intermarium, will be a space of free debate and courageous search for truth, when it begins teaching students from across the region in October.
CNN report. Spain's postal service ends its skin color-inspired stamp campaign that made the lightest stamps the most expensive. Correos, Spain's postal service, ended a widely derided stamp campaign inspired by different skin tones, just 3 days after its launch, following criticism that it perpetuated racism. The government-run postal service earlier this week debuted Equality Stamps, a collection of 4 stamps meant to represent different skin colors. The palest of the stamps cost 90 cents more than the darkest stamp, a price difference meant to reflect the value Spaniards place on people based on their skin color, according to an ad campaign for the stamps.
Al Jazeera report. U.S. bans imports from Chinese fishing fleet over labor practices. U.S. Customs and Border Protection on Friday imposed a new import ban on seafood from a Chinese fishing fleet that the agency says is using forced labor on its 32 vessels, including abuses against many Indonesian workers. CBP said it will immediately detain tuna, swordfish and other products from the Dalian Ocean Fishing Co. Limited at United States ports of entry. The withhold release order, banning the imports, also applies to other end-use products containing seafood from the company, such as canned tuna and pet food, a CBP official said.
CNN report. Hundreds of detained Tigrayans released following CNN report. Hundreds of men in Ethiopia's restive region of Tigray were released on Thursday evening, eyewitnesses and aid workers said, following a CNN report into their detention that prompted international outcry. Speaking to CNN on condition of anonymity, out of fear for their safety, the sources said that the soldiers had released all but a handful of the men who were detained on Monday by Ethiopian and Eritrean forces operating in the region.
Deutsche Welle report. Belarus seeks Russian support amid EU row. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko met with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin on Friday for talks on closer economic ties. At the meeting in the Black Sea resort Sochi, Lukashenko said that Belarusian economy was moving along normally. Well, there are always those who want to cause us trouble, Lukashenko added, apparently referring to Western governments. Hailing his trusting relationship with Putin, Lukashenko said he brought documents to show to the Russian president, so you understand what kind of people they are.
BBC report. U.S. returns ancient stone carvings to Thailand. The carvings were originally lintels, support beams, in temples dating back to the 10th century and feature the Hindu deities Indra and Yama. For decades they have been on display in San Francisco's Asian Art Museum. They are due to go on display at the National Museum in the Thai capital, Bangkok. The San Francisco Museum said it always wanted to return the beams to Thailand, but disputed experts' allegations that they had been stolen.
Fox report. NJ mom calls 911 for injury she sustained while killing son, cops allege. A Monster, New Jersey mom fatally slit her 4-year-old son's throat, then called 911, but only to get help for her wrist, which she hurt while killing the tot, authorities say. Alina Goody, 38, murdered her little boy and left his body in his bedroom early February 6, police said. She then called cops to her southbound Brook home around 2:30 a.m., whining about unexplained injuries on her wrist, according to police.
Deutsche Welle report. EU moves against TikTok over child-targeted ads. The European Commission has given TikTok 1 month to respond to allegations it failed to protect children from aggressive advertising on its platform. The EU's executive arm said Friday that the Chinese-owned video-sharing app must address the complaints, which were raised by consumer authorities in several EU member states. The Commission said, hidden marketing, aggressive advertising techniques targeted at children, and certain contractual terms in TikTok's policies were of specific concern.
BBC report. Russian hackers target aid groups in new cyber attack, says Microsoft. It said about 3,000 email accounts at more than 150 different organizations had been attacked this week. The group responsible was the same one that carried out last year's SolarWinds attacks, which Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, is accused of orchestrating, Microsoft said. Russia has denied both cyber attacks. The Kremlin on Friday said it had no knowledge of the latest hacks, and called on the U.S. tech giant to answer further questions, including how it was linked to Russia.
CNN report. Conservative agenda dominates Texas, despite Democratic hopes of turning the state blue. On Election Day in November, Democrats across Texas waited with hopeful anticipation. High early voter turnout, recent political trends and changing demographics fueled one burning question. Could the state actually turn blue this cycle? By midnight, the answer was a resounding no. Then President Donald Trump easily carried Texas by 5.6 percentage points. And while Democrats gained 1 seat in the state Senate, they didn't pick up a single seat in the state House, nor win any of the competitive U.S. congressional races in Texas.
Al Jazeera report. Oil heads for best week since April as U.S. summer travel kicks off. Oil headed for its biggest weekly gain since the middle of April ahead of the U.S. Memorial Day weekend that kicks off the country's summer driving season. West Texas Intermediate is set for a more than 5% weekly increase, though prices were little changed on Friday. A spate of positive U.S. economic data this week continued to highlight the demand recovery taking shape in the world's largest oil-consuming country.
Fox report. Ohio felon flees courtroom, jumps off 6th floor balcony, and it was caught on camera. A convicted felon in Ohio attempted to flee from his sentencing hearing by jumping off the balcony outside the courtroom, security footage showed. Video from security cameras at the Franklin Court of Common Pleas in Columbus showed Donald Mullins, 44, wriggling free of 2 officers. With his momentary freedom, Mullins vaulted over the glass railing of a nearby walkway, falling from the 6th to 5th floors, WCMH reported.
BBC report. Republicans block 9/11-style congressional probe of Capitol riot. The measure passed the U.S. House of Representatives last week. Members of ex-President Donald Trump's party said the riot is already being investigated by congressional panels. Democrats argued that forming a commission, similar to the one created after 9/11, would prevent any repeat of a similar invasion on the Capitol. Trump supporters stormed Congress on 6 January in a failed bid to overturn the certification of President Joe Biden's victory in November's election.
CNN report. Former Shelby aide expected to run for Senate in Alabama as GOP eyes an alternative to Brooks. Katie Boyd Britt, the president and CEO of the Business Council of Alabama, is expected to jump into the Alabama Senate race next month as some Republicans in the state seek an alternative to Rep. Mo Brooks, who has already earned former President Donald Trump's endorsement, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter. Some Republicans are unnerved at the slash-and-burn politics of Brooks, who led the charge in Congress to overturn the 2020 election results, and view him as an unreliable ally to the business community.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. Recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.